Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 16 of Thinktwice, a weekly show where we talk about things going on in the world of Magic the Gathering, gaming, and pop culture. As always, I'm Justin Parnell, joined by my co-host Ali Aintrazi, and this week we're going to be taking a look at the Vintage and Legacy formats played at Eternal Weekend and the DC Legacy Open, as well as a ton of Magic story. I feel like it's been so long, but we're finally back in action.
Well, I'm back in action, and there's apparently things dropping in the background.
Yeah, a hurricane going on in your house.
There's a little hurricane in my house, aka kids.
Yeah.
But last weekend, I played my first ever sealed event with Kismet in Hex. Sorry, it's a new packs. It came out for PS4, and I was just like, you know what? It's Sunday. I didn't top 8 the standard event. Let me try the limited event.
Wait, you said PS4? Is it what?
Yeah, Hex is out for PS4 now.
Wait, Hex, the game that you play on your computer is on on a console?
Yeah, Hex is now officially on the PS4 console.
That's kind of crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
So that happened.
I'm so old. I'm like, oh yeah, they come out with any new GameCube games recently.
GameCube, yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
I think GameCube was like the last one I played too. But anyways, so with the release of Hex on PS4, they basically released a new draft format.
Okay.
And it's just like cards from every set. It's kind of like Cube, but not as powerful as Cube. There's still like commons, uncommons, and rares.
Okay.
And it's the format's actually surprisingly good. And this is my first time playing the sealed event, and I ended up top 8ing the event. And of course, top 8 is draft. It was the first time also ever drafting the format, and I lost in the quarters.
And Hex essentially is just, for those of you that have not heard of this game or have heard about us talk about it before, Hex is very similar to Magic. I would say it's a Magic clone, but it's still a pretty good game, and the limited format works exactly like it does in Magic. Is that correct?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, like, drafting wise, yes. But it's weird because you have to pick cards and synergies, and those can vary depending on the champion you want to go with or the hero you pick. Kind of like some cards, like let's say, like compared to Hearthstone, some cards are better in Mage than they are in Warrior, and vice versa.
Sure.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So Hex does have champions, and there's some cards that are really good in some archetypes or / some heroes, where others are not. So figuring out that and figuring out what hero what champion or hero you're going to play while you're drafting is the only difference.
So there's another layer of, I guess,
complexity
beyond just doing the drafting.
Yes. Yeah. Honestly, I think this might be a bold statement, but I think Hex is actually harder than Magic overall.
That is a very bold statement.
Yeah,
I'm going to disagree on principle. No, I don't have anything to back this up because I've not played Hex very much. And actually, I do have something to back it up. I played the game for the first time, like last year when I was over at your house.
Yeah, you're playing Burn, right?
I played that mono red deck, and I was like 6-0 at one point before I just forgot, like how like because like you have your little hero power that you can do. Yeah, I just didn't do it, and then I lost, and then it was downhill from there. It didn't seem that hard. In fact, it seemed very easy.
That's hard. All you gotta do is click this power, and
you're right. You know, now that you say that, your argument really is holding up.
You see, perfect. So that's what I did. I got some packs, and yeah. What about you? What'd you do?
I have speaking of other games that aren't Magic, Hearthstone right now is having their little Hallows End event. And during this event, they are allowing you to play 2 classes in their arena which is their limited. They're kind of their drafting format. So you go into the arena and you select one class, and then you can draft cards from that class, and then you select one class, and then you select another class, and you get that class's hero power. So you could be a priest that can shoot fireballs, or you can be a druid that heals yourself, or a warlock that
has daggers.
Yeah, has daggers, exactly. And then you can choose cards from either of those classes, which lead to some really broken interactions, but a lot of fun stuff too. And this is honestly, this is the most fun I've had playing Hearthstone in years. I like Hearthstone. It's a nice little game.
Nice, quick paced.
Yeah, nice. It doesn't take a lot of time. But this limited format, where with the two heroes combined, it's so much fun. I've actually been doing really well. I think I'm at this point I'm averaging 6 wins an arena run, and I've done 12 or 13 of them.
Psh, child's play.
That's a lot for me.
I'm averaging 12 per run.
Wow, that's impressive. That's probably the most impressive ever.
Yep. That's
not surprising considering how much more difficult Hex is than every other game, though.
Exactly.
So when I imagine whenever you play anything else, it's just
it's just a cakewalk.
Free. Yeah, exactly.
It's a free roll.
It's a what walk?
A cakewalk.
A cakewalk. Cake, you say? How about some funnel cake?
Oh man, we've gone down this road before.
So a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, Ollie, you were kind of out for the count and you weren't able to do an episode. And then last week, I had some family stuff come up and I wasn't able to do an episode. So we've been waiting, and I know people have been waiting so long for my expose on funnel cakes and Hearthstone.
I've heard you say some things in the past.
And let me tell you.
Is it done?
Oh, it's done. It's done. I've gone down the road.
All right, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to sit down. Let me get comfy. Grab my blanket.
Yeah, you're going to want to. You might want to take some notes because it gets dark quick.
Oh, wow. All right, I'm ready.
Okay. All right, so the first card that started talking about funnel cakes in Hearthstone was, of course, the refreshment vendor. Which is the one that you said. So when you play refreshment vendor, he's like, funnel cakes, get your funnel cakes here. And then he talks about funnel cakes when he attacks, and then talks about funnel cakes when he dies. It's his flavor text on his card says menu. So talks about the menu. It has funnel cakes on the menu. So it's yeah, of course, he's a refreshment vendor. He's got in his art, he's got little funnel cakes. He's got some other food, some turkey leg and stuff like that. And that's fine. If it just stopped there, it'd be well, funnel cakes, of course they're funnel cakes. But that's when it starts to take a turn.
A dark turn?
A very dark turn. Every set in Hearthstone since, and this was in the grand tournament, was the refreshment vendor. Every set since then, there's been some mention of a funnel cake in some way. In the next set, which was Whispers of the Old Gods, there were 2 cards that talked about funnel cakes. Darkshire Alchemist, which is a priest card that heals. The flavor text says that part of her secret ingredient is liquefied funnel cakes. However, she's not making anything nice. On her art, you can see she has this this green liquid that is it looks like she's using to bring some eldritch monstrosity back to life.
Oh my god.
On top of that, in the same set, Undercity Huckster is a rogue card that has little he's trying to sell trinkets and stuff on the black market. And of course, when you play him, he's like, hey, do you want to buy a funnel cake? In a really like evil and menacing way. So he's peddling these funnel cakes, and I'm using this now as in quotations. Because it's clearly not the funnel cakes that we think it is. So
then when he attacks, he screams at you. He's like, buy one.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, he wants you. Yeah, yeah. And it's not in a... I'm not trying to convince you to do it, but it's like he's demanding that you buy one of his funnel cakes.
My quotes again.
My favorite one that I found was the Priest of the Feast, which is another rogue, which is another priest card.
Priest.
Yeah. Whenever you play a
spell,
whenever you play a spell, it says, "Blessed be this funnel cake," which I really like. But also in his art, there's no funnel cakes. He's got plenty of other food, but no funnel cakes. So I'm not sure what's going on there. And then this is when it kind of confirms it. When the Mean Streets of Gazadam comes out, there's something in the flavor for the story, in the Gadgetzan Gazette, which is what Blizzard was like releasing alongside this set and it talked about how it's like the Tuskar brothers, which are basically like little like the fat things with like tusks. They had a franchise in all of the districts of Gadgetzan for funnel cakes, but they were all closed because they're under investigation for fraud and selling substandard food to the public, and something is going on because they're under investigation for their funnel cakes. So
also,
go ahead.
You know, when Priest of the Feast dies, he says, "One last bite."
Oh yeah, yeah. You know why? Because he's addicted. He's addicted to that funnel cake, whatever it is. In the same set, Cabal Trafficker's flavor text, which has the same type of rogues that looks like it's selling you something as Undercity Huckster, that has all of these glowing red potions. The flavor text says all of the potions that she's making, they're shipped to her, and she makes the potions in boxes that say funnel cake on them.
Oh my god.
So clearly, funnel cake is not even a food. It's some sort of liquid. And we know it's been used to heal monsters. It's some sort of addictive thing, which we confirm with Priest of the Feast. The Tuskar brothers were under investigation for using fraudulent funnel caking. So
this is some crazy stuff.
And not only that, we know another thing that goes into funnel cakes: Devilsar eggs.
Oh, how you know that?
Because in the flavor text of Devilsar eggs, it says that it's one of the best ingredients in all funnel cake recipes. This is a dinosaur egg.
Man, not only a dinosaur egg, it's a devil.
Devilsar. Yeah, a Devilsar specifically. And then, of course, Exploding Bloatbat in the Knights of the Frozen Throne, which is the most recent expansion, looks like has the same kind of green liquid on it that Darkshire Alchemist was using in her art, and a similarly colored liquid that Undercity Huckster had in the little trinkets he had. And it looks like he's like getting ready to explode, which of course is what the card does, because he's filled with whatever this juice he's had. And of course his flavor text reads, "We've all been there after a night of one too many funnel cakes."
Oh my god.
So
that's it. Confirmation.
So here's what we know. Funnel cakes, not actual funnel cakes. Some sort of addictive substance that can be used to, who knows? but it's not make food. It's made from devil sore eggs used for demonic potions and such. I'm just saying. I'll keep everyone updated on this funnel cake disaster that's happening in Hearthstone.
I mean, I didn't know. It's also weird to me that the refreshment vendor selling you funnel cakes.
Yeah. It's not good. Don't eat the funnel cakes in Hearthstone. That's all I'm telling. I'm telling everyone. Don't do it.
Well, it's saying that like funnel cake is a refreshment. Maybe you are right. Maybe it is a liquid of some sort.
Oh, it definitely is.
Oh man,
it's some sort of addictive substance. Okay, that's it on funnel cakes. That's everything you need to know about funnel cakes in Hearthstone.
Man.
And as more come out, I will update everyone.
All right, guys. Also, the next expansion for Hearthstone, you heard it here first. It's going to be called Hearthstone Drug Wars.
It could be. The battle for funnel cakes has begun.
Yeah, Drug Wars, battle for the cakes.
Okay, I think it's enough Hearthstone. It's enough Hex. It's time to get into Magic. We will be back in just a moment to discuss Legacy and Vintage from the last two large events. Two weeks ago, I participated in one of my favorite events in the year, along with actually several of my friends and director John Choi. And we went to Eternal Weekend, which is the largest Legacy and Vintage tournament in North America.
Was it Eternal?
No, it ended. It was 3 days.
Oh man, it's a trap, just like the never.
It really is, yeah, like the never-ending story.
Yeah. That book ended too.
Yeah, movie ended.
All right, we'll keep going.
I know. I'm sorry to disappoint. But I was able to play Legacy and Vintage, which are my two favorite constructed formats, I guess DCI sanctioned formats. In Vintage, I played Mishra's Workshops, which we covered a couple of weeks ago when Christopher McCurry and I were talking about Vintage and what we're going to be playing. I started off pretty strong, but ultimately fell halfway through and was not able to finish in any sort of prize. And Vintage was 10 rounds. This is going to be a recurring theme. But Vintage was a 10-round tournament, and that is a really, really long time for any tournament, especially if you're playing Magic. Even though I was playing shops, it's not like automatic Magic, where you still have to think about a lot of things. The top 8 actually for that tournament ended up being 5 aggressive Mishra's Workshop decks and then 3 Oath of Druid decks, which has traditionally been a deck that has a very good matchup with Mishra's Workshop. And kind of leading into this event, there had been this sentiment among people that play the format that has been growing and growing about how long Mishra's Workshop can stay unrestricted. Because even though in the very, very beginning of the format this card was restricted, but for the last 16 or 17 years it's been unrestricted. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of one of the pillars, as I talked about in the discussion with McCurry, that this is, like I said, one of the pillars that Vintage as a format has grown on, along with essentially Force of Will and Bazaar of Baghdad. So during the time that I was at Eternal Weekend in Pittsburgh for that event, you started texting me once you saw that top 8.
Yeah. I said to you, they should restrict Mishra's Workshop, but unrestrict.
Is this a question?
I can't remember what I said unrestrict. I can't remember what I said unrestrict. Was it? I
don't know.
Was it Golem? Did I say unrestrict?
Yeah,
Golem?
you said unrestrict Lotus of Golem. And other
okay,
stuff.
I said restrict Mishra's Workshop, but unrestrict Lotus of Golem.
And a lot of people have been saying kind of the same thing. And there's a lot of people that are making opinions based on just seeing this top 8.
I actually tweeted that. I think I'm pretty sure I tweeted it.
Maybe.
And then texted you about it as well.
Yeah. I know Brian DeMars had an article on channelfireball.com. Who plays a lot of vintage. Luis Scott Vargas had a kind of a video blog up about potentially restricting it, and it's kind of like this effort to make a case for the restriction of this card is starting to grow, and it's not that I want to make, I guess, my position clear. It's not that I don't think that they should. I just don't think that they will. It's a really tough pill to swallow for anyone to ban or restrict a $1,000 card. And I'm not talking about like a theoretical $1,000 card. I mean like an actual $1,000 card. Wizards already dislikes it enough whenever they feel like they have to ban something in standard. When we're talking about $15 and $20 cards or less. But if for anyone that has 4 Mishra's Workshops, myself included, if you restrict this card, you're essentially taking $300 or $3,000 out of somebody's pocket because those are cards you're not going to be able to play with anymore. And
trying to sell them.
Well, yeah, but the market gets a lot smaller. Yeah. So it's not like, it's like if you bought into this format thinking you're going to be able to play with these cards, and honestly, the reason that this deck has continued to flourish as they've restricted Lodestone Golem, Chalice of the Void, Thorn of Amethyst, is because they keep printing really powerful artifacts like in Standard. Walking Ballista is arguably one of the top 3 most powerful cards in this deck. And this card didn't exist a year ago. This was printed literally in this calendar year in 2017 and immediately became a staple.
Yeah.
Has allowed this deck to become extremely aggressive, even in the face of the restriction of Thorn of Amethyst, which people thought was going to really hurt the deck. It hasn't. In fact, it, coupled with the restriction of Monastery Mentor, has really made this the best deck in the format. So the question is, do they need to restrict Mishra's Workshop? I don't know. It's tough because they're going to keep printing good artifacts, and they don't even have to be that good. If they cost 3 or 4, that's something you have to think about in Modern Magic, literally in Modern and Standard, because you're going to be tapping 4 permanents to cast a 4-drop artifact, right?
Yeah.
In Vintage, you're going to be tapping 2. And in some cases 1 with like Tolarian Academy. So regardless of how expensive something is, if the effect is powerful enough, it's going to see play in Mishra's Workshop decks. And that's something you have to be really careful about. And I don't think they can do that. I don't think they can take Vintage into consideration when they're making these decisions to print Standard cards. At Eternal Extravaganza last month, we saw a Mishra's Workshop deck in the top 8 that had the card Snare Thopter in it. That card is awful. It's a terrible card. It's a 3/2 with flying and haste for 4 artifact.
Yeah. Yeah.
This card is like it's like playable in Kaladesh Limited. Completely unplayable in any other constructed format. And yet you have someone that's using this to be powered out by Mishra's Workshop to have a turn 1 or 2 haste 3/2 flyer, which is actually pretty difficult to deal with for a lot of decks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, imagine, it's basically Delver of Secrets.
Yeah, this is Delver of Secrets with haste.
Yeah.
Think about that. And it's... I don't know. It's in. There's just been this groundswell of people that want this card gone or nerfed significantly, as far as nerfing the numbers. And I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're going to try to find another way. I think they're probably going to restrict Mental Misstep, which is a card that you think it'd be weird because it's like, why do you restrict Mental Misstep? That's literally a terrible card against shops. Yeah, it is. But part of the thing about Mishra's Workshop is Mental Misstep isn't good, but it is good against all of the other decks that are trying to put 1-drops in play. Where Mishra's Workshop has Soul Ring, most other decks in the format have multiple, including their own Mental Missteps. you have as many middle missteps that are in your deck in game 1, which for every blue deck is a lot. You are losing out on a potential card that does anything against a workshop deck. It also allows you to play more 1-drops in the format because you can get under workshops and try to get some advantage from there. Where 1-drops are hard to play in Vintage right now because most decks, all blue decks, have 3 or 4 middle missteps.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, well, it's a crazy card.
It is a crazy card, yeah.
What were you going to say, Ali?
I was saying that's crazy to me. Like that mental misstep is like it's banned in Modern, banned in Legacy. Now it's gonna be restricted to Vintage. Should just show the power level of Friction free spell. Just not Friction mana, just free spells. Free spells. Yeah.
No, you're right. Friction mana in particular, because life is the best resource because you start with the most of it in the beginning of the game.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean it's just a free spell. Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Crazy.
It's just counterintuitive for middle misstep to be something that hurts shops, but it's not that it hurts it just lets other things be able to kind of flourish in its place. I guess is kind of what I'm looking at.
Well, I was gonna ask you. You said 10 rounds. Go back to 10 round things. 10 round thing. 10 is a lot of rounds. It's a lot of matches. A lot of Magic to play. A lot of thinking. If you're playing any sort of like mid range deck, it's a lot. Even aggro, man. Math for 10 rounds is still can be draining.
Oh, for sure. And that kind of brings me to my next point. Legacy the next day, and after I'd played the most of the day in Vintage, Legacy the next day was 11 rounds in one day.
That's absurd.
I don't play Magic that much anymore, Tournament Magic, as much as I used to.
That's literally your whole day, 11 hours of Magic.
It was 13 hours.
I mean, I'm saying minimum. Yeah, well, it's minimum 11 hours, I guess.
Minimum. Absolute best case scenario, it's 11 hours.
Yeah.
But 13 hours.
That's absurd.
At one point, Ollie, in this tournament, in the Legacy Championships, I was 7-1. For a one-day tournament, when you're 7-1, you're thinking about top 8.
Yeah.
I ended up 7-4 because my brain literally could not make the decisions I was making 2 and 3 hours earlier in this event.
That's absurd to me. Oh, that's crazy.
And it was really frustrating because I was like, I'm playing really well. I feel like I'm one of the better players in the room. I know what I'm doing. I've beaten a lot of good players today. I'm in a really good position. And then it's just once I get to that 10 hours, 11 hours, 12 hours, 13-hour mark of playing really mentally taxing Magic, I just don't know. I don't know. It honestly made me question, do I want to continue doing this? Because if I know I'm playing these long tournaments in one day, I think 9 is the most I ever want to play in, and that's pushing it.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. 13 hours of anything. Like even 13 hours of playing, like let's say you love playing League of Legends or you love playing Hearthstone. 13 hours of any of those games, eventually, before you get 13 hours, you're gonna be like, all right, I need a break. Like, do you guys at least get a lunch break or anything?
Well, no, of course not.
Yeah,
and that's the thing.
Saying, like,
so it's really it's crappy because when you're in this situation and you're succeeding in a tournament, you often don't have the ability to like sit down and eat a good meal. You don't always have time in between rounds to kind of rest and recuperate. And there's no really way you could do that because it's if you do that, you're turning a 13-round tournament into a 15-round tournament.
Yeah.
But if I'm like in round 6 and it's 5 p.m, have I eaten lunch? Have I even had time to have a meal? Do I have to rely on my friends? Hope they go to get some food and bring me back some food and I scarf it down in between rounds? Did I bring snacks? Is there enough water in the room? Do I have to keep buying a bottle of water to make sure that I'm even hydrated enough?
Yes. The answer is yes.
and these are all things that you have to take into consideration. Like, it's not... I couldn't... At that point, when I got to round 9, I was no longer battling against my opponents. I was battling against myself. Because this turns into a marathon, and I'm just literally trying to string together enough cohesive thought to be able to play at the level I was playing just a few hours earlier.
Right.
So,
well, speaking of things to eat or snacks, what do you think is a good snack for just Magic players in general to take with them to Magic events to snack on, like good brain food?
Yeah. So I bring 3 things. I always bring a lot of snacks. I bring like crackers, like Lance crackers, like peanut butter crackers or cheese crackers.
Right.
I bring trail mix, which is great because a lot of times, especially if you get like just the regular basic trail mix that has like peanuts, raisins, a little bit of chocolate in it, just to kind of make sure you can, you can stay full and get a little bit of carbs to keep you going and a little bit of sweet to caffeinate you a little bit of chocolate to caffeinate you a little bit.
Little boost of energy.
Yeah. And then, of course, the ultimate food for this is just granola.
Granola?
Yeah, and just about any form is, I mean, granola is fantastic. It hits all the things. Got to make sure that you can, in the brief times that you will inevitably have to go to the bathroom, that will help. I mean, I'm just saying. Hey, look, that's a thing that no one wants to talk about. But everyone's got to go to the bathroom at some point in the day, and I'm not talking about a quick pee. So at some point you're gonna have to go to the bathroom. You don't want to have to. You're like, all right, well the round ends in 2 minutes. Do I go to the bathroom now, or do I try to push it out until the next round?
You push it out always.
Yeah. Of course, because you don't want to be in the bathroom when the round starts.
Well, even in the bathroom, you just push it out too.
Okay. Okay. So those are kind of my 3 go-tos. What about you? Like, what are the things that you're always trying to take?
I try to bring something protein based because protein tends to like fill you up. Mm-hmm. It doesn't give you so much energy, but it's nice and filling, and you actually feel like you've eaten something.
Yeah. It's substance. Yeah. Definitely a lot of substance with protein-based stuff.
Yeah. Also in the morning, I do drink something caffeinated, like usually coffee, just to get me started. And then in between, towards the end of the day, I will have like some sort of, this is just me personally, but some sort of liquid beverage that is filling.
Yeah.
Currently, I've been on Soylent, which is literally just a meal replacement. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I take this for different reasons too, but people like it's actually not bad. Like it's literally a meal in a bottle. It has like everything you need for a meal, and you can just drink it. So all you have to do is it has 400 calories in it. So when you eat a meal and you can't go anywhere, or maybe you're by yourself. Maybe you're traveling by yourself.
Yeah.
God forbid, but like. You drink one of those and you feel full. It gives you everything you need nutrition-wise, and you're good to go.
You sound like you're doing like an ad for Soylent. Well, I know you're not, but it's just true. It's true. Yeah. Like everything you're saying is true.
Yeah, it's just like that's nice. Like I usually do coffee. I do some sort of a protein snack. Try to do protein snack. Peanuts is good too. That's also a protein snack. Yeah. And then I'll try to have a bottle or 2 of. Now, Soylent.
Yeah.
I mean, even like honestly, you could just having like some protein powder, then later in the day, just like filling it with water.
Mixing it with your water. Then
drinking that is fine. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's something. It makes you like actually get more than just carbs and sugar.
Yeah. So. And speaking of that, you really like avoiding sugar. A little bit of sugar is okay. Like something that has sugar in it is fine.
Minimal.
Yeah. Like that's what I was saying. Like with, like trail mix. Like it's like I want to have like that little bit of chocolate in it, but I don't want to have like bars of chocolate. I mean, I love chocolate. Trust me, I love chocolate. But sugar that's going to get you through the next round, and then you're going to be in worse shape than you were before.
The crash. The crash is real.
It is real. Fried food also bad. For a lot of reasons.
Oh, yeah.
Almost anything they're selling to you at the convention center is going to be bad.
Yeah, yogurt's good though.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If you can find a yogurt or a parfait, you're in good shape.
Or fruit. Fruit's like the best sugar.
Yes, natural sugar, yeah.
Also, there's no real crash. Like eating a banana or an apple, you have no real crash after eating those. So
yeah. And I've always want to take like fruit to an event, but it's so tough because it doesn't travel
It
very
is.
well.
Yeah.
Like I want to take an apple, but then what are you gonna, take a knife? You gonna take some napkins? You're gonna cut up the apple? I don't
Well,
know.
even then, I've been making it squished.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
Same with like pears and other soft fruits. So
yeah, just take Soylent. It's pears, everything in a bottle.
Yeah.
There you go.
yeah, but like you said, yogurt is good if you can find that. Also, and this is super difficult, but there's some convention centers that are near like shopping centers or malls.
Yeah.
You know, Ali, you and I both love smoothies. Obviously.
Oh yeah, yes. I
So
love smoothies.
if I can get a smoothie in the middle of the day, if I have a choice, that's going to be my meal because I can just go get a smoothie, start eating it on the way back, or drinking it on the way back, and just drink it throughout the round. And if you go to like a Smoothie King where you can get one of those meal replacement smoothies that are really hearty, that's going to be virtually the best thing that you can have.
for like the time commitment. Yes.
Not as far as like
Time versus
it doesn't beat having like a like a sub
Yeah.
or something like that has actual substance. But as far as like
Yeah.
you can do it on your own, you don't have to rely on anyone else. You can go and come back really quickly. You can do it throughout the whole round, and you'll be full. So
Yeah, two of the best things I bought for Magic events have been a boogie board and just a good water bottle / canteen / something that holds liquid well and keeps it cool.
Yes,
that is the
and
two
secure,
best things
so
I've bought.
that doesn't leak.
Yes, and secure.
Yeah,
that's been the two best things I've bought. Third being a good bag. I guess a good bag is first.
Bag is number one ultimately.
Yeah, bag is number one. Two is the boogie board, and three is just having the container for liquid.
Yeah, and I think we're both on the same thing now, because after you got a boogie board, you got me a boogie board later that year, and then I got my bag, and I was like, Ollie, if you get your next bag, you need to get this specific bag.
Yeah, and I've had it since then.
Yeah, it's fan. So the boogie board is the actual brand. I think you can get those on Amazon. But the brand of bag that both of us use is Timbuk2. It's spelled TIMBUK number 2. So if you search that on Google, the bags are phenomenal. I have 2 of them. I've had them both for over 5 years. You really can't go wrong. They look expensive, and they kind of are expensive, but I promise you,
the quality's worth it.
Their quality is absolutely worth it. If you want a bag that you can use literally every day for years.
Yep. Holds laptops too. Like mine, yeah. I don't want to totally derail this and go into bags, but Justin takes care of his more than me. Like mine, I've dropped. Mine, I've spilled stuff on it, and it's still like phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and there's a lot of them.
It's also waterproof.
Yeah, the inside of both of all the ones that both of us have are waterproof, which is great. Yeah, they're great bags. Yeah. I mean, but stuff like that. I mean, having a bag, having the boogie board is really just a convenience thing. So you don't have to always have pen and paper.
I still rate it as the second most important. Like having no need to have a pen and paper. Be able to like write notes for Thoughtseize and not be wasteful. Yeah. I think that's just fantastic.
And it is for me too. But really being able to have all of these things that you need for a tournament, because I think this honestly goes into it when you don't have to worry about all of these other stuff. If you come with your boogie board, a few dice, and everything else that you would need could be food. Like I always bring in my
here what let's end this here, and we'll let you guys, if you guys want us to tell you like everything we use, like deck boxes, dice, for what kind of boogie board, bags, whatever, water bottles. If you want us to have a section on that, we can definitely have a whole section on that, because I use awesome deck boxes that I think are great. So we can actually just devote a whole topic to that.
That sounds good. I think we should. This is something we should revisit. Because we could definitely go on and on. This could definitely be a whole segment, because we both have a lot of thoughts. We've both been in, traveling and playing competitive Magic for
years.
Yeah,
years.
Close to 2 decades now. So
we'll do that then. We'll do that.
All right, we'll cut this one off. Ollie, we have a huge discussion on Magic Story coming up. Are you ready?
I'm always ready.
All right.
Dramatic story.
Great. Then we're going to jump out and we'll be back in just a minute.
Alright, so we've had 2 magic stories that we haven't covered yet, and it was basically the race. The race part 1 and the race part 2. When I first saw it was called The Race, I was like, the race part 1, I was like, that's odd to name a story part 1. Well, obviously it's not. Obviously the Ixalan story is not done, but why would you name it part 1? That was a lot to me, but regardless, it was a race, and the race was to find Orskanta? Is that how I say it? Not Orskanta. Oraska. Sorry. Yeah, mixing Oraska and Orskanta together. Oraska, Golden City. Yeah. So I'm going to give a quick rundown of just basically what happened in the stories, and then we'll dive more into it.
Why don't you go through the race part 1 and 2, because it is really just one story just broken up into 2 sections.
Yeah, I guess that is why I called it part 1 and part 2. All right. So what happens is Jace and Vraska have the compass. They are heading towards trying to find the Golden City. Huatli and Tishana, aka Thunderthighs, aka Triple T, are teaming up to get back the compass, and Tishana said, "Hey, I'll show you where the Golden City is." And then we have vampires, Vona and the bunch, going after the Golden City as well. So we have Vraska and Jace. They run into Vona Butcher Magain. She's able to best them and take the compass, and she runs off. And then while Vraska and Jace are sitting there, Triple T and Huatli come to them like, "Hey, yo, give us a compass." And they're like, "We don't have it." And Huatli's like, "They're lying." Tishana's like, "No, they're not lying. I know this because she's obviously blue. She's a mind mage as well." She's like, "No, they don't have it. They're telling the truth. Let's go." They go, and they get it from the vampire. They get it from the vampire. And then Jason and Vraska get the compass back, and Vraska has a compass. They go towards the Golden City, and like there's earthquakes happening, a bunch of noise happening.
They see the spires of Oraska.
Yes, they see the spires, and like it seems like something like earthquakes happening. We're not really sure what, but the ground is like splitting and stuff. Jace falls down one of these things, and Vraska tries to save him, but she ultimately can't. Luckily, Jace does not die, but he's hit his head, and he's being flooded and rushed with all of his memories from
before
Ixalan, yes. And as he's remembering these, he's a telepath. They're leaking out of him. He's like sharing basically part of his memories with everybody around him, and they're seeing Ravnica. They're seeing all kinds of things that he's remembering, and that's where it's like, all right, that's it, guys. But somewhere in the story too, I forgot to mention, Huatli and Triple T, they part ways. Huatli runs into Angrath, and Angrath is like, "Yo, wait up, you're a planeswalker, I'm a planeswalker. Let's team up. Let's get off this plane." And Huatli eventually agrees to do it, but realizes that Angrath is like, he'll do whatever he needs to leave this plane, including kill anybody in his way.
Yeah. So, even though that's the end of the Ixalan story, obviously this is going to continue in Rivals for Ixalan starting in the beginning of next calendar year in January. But there's a lot going on, a lot of little parts in this story between the race part 1 and the race part 2. What are some of your notable moments or some of your favorite parts?
During the race, I think, you know what? I'll let you go first. I'll let you say your favorite moments, and then I'll go.
Okay, fair enough. So we meet 2 really notable vampires, and those are ones that have made it onto that are legendary creatures in the actual expansion Ixalan, and that's Mavrin Fane and Vona, Butcher of Magan. Mavrin Fane, you meet very briefly, and then he kind of just you don't really see him again in the story. I imagine that he's going to appear sometime during the Rivals of Ixalan story. But Vona, in my opinion, is the most interesting character that we are first meeting on Ixalan. Vona and all the vampires, well, I guess all the vampires are, they consider themselves a devout people, where they only drink blood and feast on people they believe to be sinners or evil people, and they will not simply just take the life of another creature just to satisfy their hunger.
Or their thirst. Yeah, that's why they're white vampires.
Yes. They're very religious, extremely religious. And they all live by this code, except for one. And that's Vona. But the thing about Vona is...
They think she lives by the code.
They think, yes, and this is the best part. She outwardly says to everyone else that she is following the code of Saint Alondra, which is the first vampire on the plane of Ixalan. And they think that she's just this great warrior, and ultimately she knows, and she's completely okay with this, but she is just a bloodthirsty conqueror of everyone.
Yes. She
will kill anyone at any time if she's hungry. She'll drink the blood of whoever she wants. She's
basically give in to her vampire side, vampiric
completely,
side,
and enjoys it.
Yes,
she's an excellent combatant, which we see a couple of times in these stories. She's incredibly cunning. She's literally the she will do anything that she needs to protect herself. She doesn't care about anyone else. Everyone else is just a means to an end. And she's fully embraced that she is just a vampire. And a very powerful one at that. It's interesting because she's white, but how they told her in the story, she is not at all white. I guess she's white because she kind of thinks that she can kind of spin anything to whatever her reason is for doing whatever she is. She can make it sound like it's for the greater good of the vampires that are, invading Ixalan, but ultimately she just doesn't care. She's just out for herself entirely, which
yes,
it's great to have. So this is really refreshing to me because honestly, you don't see a ton of, since we've had these Planeswalker stories for 10 years, there's not a lot of just purely self-centered evil characters that are just villains through and through, that don't have barely any redeemable qualities.
I think the last one we've seen had to be Obnixilis, I imagine.
Yeah, but kind of. But even his backstory was still a little tragic, though. Now, he's ultimately been corrupted. Yeah, because he was...
yeah, I guess.
Yeah, he's ultimately been corrupted, but before he was a demon, he was a man that kind of just got caught up in everything.
Yeah.
And ultimately, he is certainly evil now.
Now he's evil, and he doesn't care about anybody else.
And he's vengeant. He's extremely vengeant. But Vona is literally just out for herself, and she will do whatever it takes to put herself in a better position. And we've seen, we read her backstory. And she's been like this forever, and she just doesn't care. She just wants to be all-powerful. She wants to rule everyone. She wants everyone to bend to her. And there's just, honestly, I hope she sticks around because I don't think there's a ton of just great, just villains. And it kind of sucks because I feel like the real villains are, as far as ones that are going to stick around are Planeswalkers, because if you can't leave the plane, then you're not necessarily going to be important to the story, but at least hopefully for the rest of the Ixalan story, I hope she's set up as the ultimate, the big bad, but doesn't get defeated.
basically like Bolas.
Yeah, but Bolas is so mysterious. No one knows what he's up to.
No.
And he has, it's not that he has redeeming qualities, but
we understand there is a goal behind what he does. There's a method to the madness.
Exactly.
Or there's reason to the madness.
Yes. Vona's interest is more. More whatever. More power, more blood, more...
Or just not caring, or just giving in to desire.
All
giving
impulses.
into her... Yeah, giving into her... Basically, an animalistic side. Like, hey, I'm a vampire. I hung up for blood. That shouldn't... I mean, that's me. Like, why do I have to drink blood of sinners? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
This is me. I'm stuck to myself. There's no reason for me to, like, repent or whatever. And not only drink blood from so-and-so.
Yeah,
so.
totally. And she's also totally fine with lying to everyone else.
Yeah, she doesn't care.
She doesn't care, which is great. I think it's fun to have characters like that are just bad. There's nothing good. There's nothing good about her. She's just bad, and that's fine. Not every character. Well, the Magic story team, and I think they've done a really good job lately. But there's always they always want to have like this sliver of good to every character. Like even the bad characters, they're like tragic in some way that's made them bad, or they're trying.
But that's almost realistic too in a way. Though it's very much humans.
It is because everyone has this duality. But that's why it's so great to not have that for once.
Yeah.
Or you just have this character that's just doesn't care. Just
as far as we know,
through and through. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was because she was really introduced in the race part 1. So she's not a character you've seen a ton of yet, but super interesting, and I'm excited to see where her story goes. Do you have one, or do you want me to do my next one?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. All right. So my next one is and I know this is one you're going to want to talk about, but Nicol Bolas's connection to the compass and kind of what we think he's trying to do with the thematic compass that he's given Vraska. We know that it targets sources of great power, or energy maybe. When planeswalkers try to planeswalk away and the Ixalan's binding comes up over them, the compass like freaks out and points to them.
Yes.
This makes me think of something else that we've seen a little bit before, and relates somewhat to the End of the Hour of Devastation story. And we know that Ral Zarek is working for Bolas, right?
Yeah. Yep.
One of the main things that Bolas is getting from working with Ral is that he is the person that is responsible for managing the Project Lightning Bug on Ravnica.
Yes. And tell people that what Lightning Bug is.
Yeah, Project Lightning Bug is something that is identifying when planeswalkers enter or leave a plane. And this is obviously real important for Bolas, so you can kind of track people to see where they are. But I think that the thematic compass might actually be the thing that is tracking those planeswalkers, because it's like freaking out, because it only triggers when people leave or enter, and that's
or even try to planeswalk, yeah,
or try to planeswalk, and that's exactly what's happening on Ixalan when Jace is trying to planeswalk away, and the compass freaks out and like points towards him. So we know that that's a thing, but it's also pointing towards the Golden City of Orazka. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what it is, but I think that the compass and Project Lightning Bug are connected somehow, and it might be Project.
Yeah. Well. I think it's in this story. It was called "This Very Arena." Brazil, I think, tells Jace that Project Lightning Bug tracked a planeswalker leaving this plane, but couldn't detect where it went.
Yes,
and that was basically Vraska traveling to
Ixalan.
Ixalan,
exactly.
Right. Yes. So maybe maybe the Project Lightning Bug does something else on that plane, because it's also the Mighty Compass. If you look at the art, it does have like a bunch of lightning going through it, which is a little odd. Also, it does transform into the spires of Orkaza.
Now, knowing that though, I guess that wouldn't make the thematic compass Project Lightning Bug because Vraska left the plane and she went to Ixalan. But we know she hasn't been back since. Because you can't. She can't leave.
Yeah, that's true.
So she would have had to have the compass with her.
Right. So yeah.
I don't know. I still think there's some sort of connection. It's just too weird for two separate things to track Planeswalker movement. And
yeah, I was gonna.
Yeah, I don't. I just don't buy that it's just coincidental. There's no coincidence. There's no coincidence with Bolas.
No, there's not. Also,
well, I guess there might be one, but we'll get to that in a second.
Yes. Yes. One with the we'll get that. Just 1 second. On the art of Seal of the Guild Pact, it's the 5-cost artifact. It has like each guild.
Yeah.
In a circle. In the middle of it, it has what appears to be sun of some sort.
Some sort of sun, yes.
That connects all the guilds.
Yeah, a circular sun-looking
infinite
looking image.
Yeah, the circular image with like the sun itself looks like to be like has little lines that like wrap around itself, seemingly kind of like infinite, and that made me think like, what if that is the immortal sun, or that is the image of the immortal sun?
And I don't think that it is, but I just don't. I don't have like a good reason as to why. I just don't feel like that's the case.
All right, we'll see.
It's just like because that's on Ravnica, that's the seal, the seal of the Guild Pact.
Yeah,
but there's clearly something like they didn't just. I do like it wasn't just random that it's Vraska and Jace that are here either.
Well, it kind of was. Jace was, speaking of the coincidence, originally we thought that maybe Jace went to Ixalan not on purpose, that, that somehow Bolas had not only mind crushed him, or mind deathed him, but also somehow sent him to Ixalan. But that is proven wrong. We are proven wrong because the storytellers tell us that Jace ended up on Ixalan
unbeknownst to Bolas.
Yeah. Correct. So him running into Vraska was not a plan at all.
Yeah. Which it still seems awfully convenient, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. It just seems awfully convenient.
Yeah. It also told us a little bit about Ingrath, which was a little off tangent, but Ingrath was a family man on a plane we haven't seen yet. He also has 2 adorable daughters. And whenever he wasn't at work as a blacksmith, he would like travel around the multiverse, going to different planes, and bring them back presents from different worlds, different planes, basically.
Yeah.
And then one day he went to Ixalan, basically to travel or explore and bring back his little daughter's presents, and he wasn't able to leave, and that's why he's so angry. He's willing to do anything to get back home to his 2 daughters.
Yeah, he was just Ath before he went to Ixalan.
Yeah.
Now he's Angrath.
Yeah, got it.
He seems pretty like I don't know. He's already an interesting character to me because you talked about like he's willing to like do anything or kill anyone in his way to leave, but he is. I firmly believe he's in the I don't have anything to lose camp. So it's not that he's like trying to kill people or trying to hurt anyone, but he also just wants to get back so badly to his family that whatever he does is worth it.
To him, yes.
Yeah, whatever happens to him is worth it to be able to leave. So it's just by any means necessary. But his intentions are good to do it, but intentions when you're killing people don't necessarily mean much.
Yeah. Also, apparently the person that brought the Immortal Sun to Orzka was called the Last Guardian to the River Heralds, and apparently was a winged beast.
Interesting. A winged beast.
Yeah, a winged beast took the mortal sun to Orskov.
That's definitely Bolus, right?
Or Ugin. What if Ugin is taking this thing and is all powerful and is hit it?
It is an artifact.
From Bolus.
It is an artifact. Most likely colorless mana.
I mean, I'm just saying. Who is one person that would conspire against Bolus and hide something that Bolus would want?
Yeah, we haven't heard. We also haven't heard from Ugin in a while.
That's true. The Immortal Sun is obviously not. It's not from this plane. It is not from Ixalan. It's not named Ixalan.
Yeah,
we do know that. So it was a winged beast. Only two winged beasts I can think of are Bolus and Ugin, and I just don't understand why Nuka Bolus would hide something he wants on a plane where he can't planeswalk out of. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, okay. Well, let's take a step back. What if, when he did it, he could have planeswalked out, but he knew shortly afterwards he would not be able to? What if he did this before the mending? We know that he knew that it was going to happen. That's why he did. He went to Amonkhet because he knew that
before the mending.
Yeah. Before the mending, he went to Amonkhet to set his plans in motion to be able to take that plane over, right?
Yes.
Maybe
that's probably the only reason he was able to defeat all the 9 gods.
For sure, definitely. What if, when he was still before pre-mending, he went to Ixalan to hide something, knowing that no one else could retrieve it after the mending, that planeswalkers would not be powerful enough to leave?
Maybe. I mean, that's definitely a possibility.
And now that makes sense too. Because he's scared to go back himself. He knows where Ixalan is.
Obviously, because he sent Braska there.
Exactly. And he knows that something's there that he wants. So what if it was him that put it there, but he is concerned that if he goes, he won't be able to leave? A winged beast, too, it's definitely a dragon, because they've made it clear there's no dragons on Ixalan. There's none.
No dragons, yes. Correct. Winged, yes. Also, yeah. Do you remember the art of Star of Extinction? With the plane?
It's just a dinosaur and a meteor.
Yes. Do you know how that happened?
No.
Well, let me tell you.
Tell me.
Let me just tell you.
Tell me.
Apparently, the first person that abused the Immortal Sun had so much power that he's the one that summoned the Star of Extinction to Ixalan and blew everything up. Like, we've heard stories of the first person that had the Immortal Sun, they abused it. So the River Heralds took it and they said, hide it somewhere else.
Never again.
Never again, yes. And the Star of Extinction is apparently what happened when the first person used the Immortal Sun.
I think it's either Bolus or Ugin. It's one of those two.
Yeah, and like originally I said I wouldn't know why it's Bolus, but you make a pretty convincing case of why it would be Bolus. So yeah, I think it has to be either or.
Yeah, I think you make a good case for Ugin too. I'm still gonna go. I'm leaning towards Bolus, but I'm less leaning towards him now that I've heard your argument.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm still leaning.
It's gonna be interesting.
I'm still leaning towards Bolus
but at the same time, it's kind of weird because when would Ugin hide it there? Because Bolus still does not know that Ugin's alive. According to Bolus,
it had to been many. It had been really long.
Many
super
moons
long
ago. Yeah, exactly.
And if that was the case, like, why now?
Yeah, why get now?
Why now?
Because again, according to Bolus, Ugin is still dead. He's not alive, so we'll see.
Yeah, as far as we know.
Yeah.
Any other notes on these stories before we have one of our new segments?
No, I don't. I'm actually super excited for next part.
Okay.
I'm excited for was it Journeys of Ixalan or Rivals of
Ixalan?
Yeah, I'm ready for that story.
Yeah, me too. I'm interested. This, there's even more in this story that we haven't necessarily touched on. Like Vraska wanting to take Jace on a date, specifically.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Seeing Jace's powers in full force. But we actually have a new segment that we're going to do every week. And this is just going to be in one of the topics that we're doing. We're going to call it Question of the Week. Very simple. And we're just going to pose a question, yes or no question, or an A or B question, and we're just going to talk about it and see where we land. So, question of the week for this week. We talked about at the end of the story that Jace's memories started come flooding back to him, affecting everyone around him. Vraska caught a couple of them. Is it a good thing or a bad thing that Jace's memories are coming back?
All right, I'm on the side of it is a good thing. It is a good thing because I think a person should be needs their memories to just knowing the past helps so much. Like, it helps you not repeat your mistakes, helps you just learn. Like, you are who you are because of your past. And having them back, I think, just will help him be the best Jace that he can be.
Okay. I do not think it's a good thing, and I could not disagree more. They've made it clear in this story that the past is not what shapes them, for both Jace and Vraska. Like, that's been a major thing of this story is they're able to leave the past behind. Vraska is not going to be treated like a Gorgon. She's treated like a pirate because she wants to be a pirate. Jace is not this cocky, smirky jackass.
Right. When I say the past shapes you, the past does shape you, but you should not let it control you. You should not let it guide you, but you do learn from your past.
Sure.
You don't have to. I just want to be clear. I wasn't trying to say that you are who you are because your past and you can't change, but your past has formed the way you think, the way you act for whoever you are now. You shouldn't let it control you or have it as an excuse, but it is an important thing to know about. Like, there's times where, let's say, you get hurt badly and you want to, I want to erase that. You shouldn't really erase it because having it or knowing about it will help you in the future, even no matter how badly you're hurt. For the most part. I'm sure there's exception to every rule.
Yeah, of course. I do not think that it's good at all. That was actually one of the most disappointing things in the story for me. I felt like they had made a clean slate with Jace. Jace is a character that I was not fond of at all. Like, I didn't care for because I didn't like who he was.
Right.
And it took them a while, but throughout the entire narrative of Ixalan, where you had Jace with a completely clean slate, he was learning about himself and who he felt like he really was, and he was able to make those decisions on his own. He didn't have to take his past into account. He's done a lot of things that I'm sure he'll remember that he regretted in his past. He's going to be bound by those things again.
Maybe he won't be.
But even if he's not, I don't think that the Jace that they were building, it was necessary for him to have all those memories.
It wasn't, but it was slowly coming back anyways. Like, that the story for us is like, oh, his memories are coming back. Oh, he's remembering what Ravka looked like. He's remembering this. It was hinted at, and then it's like all coming back.
Yeah, but it's okay. To me, it's like it's lazy storytelling. So he gets hit on the head and his memories come back. Like, that's fine if you're like, this is some like poorly written fiction starring Brendan Fraser, where you get hit on the head and then your amnesia undoes itself. But Jace is a planeswalker. He's like a mind mage specifically. It should be a lot harder because it was so difficult for Bolas. Well, it wasn't really difficult for Bolas.
It wasn't for Bolas, but for anybody else, it would have been
almost impossible.
Yes, well, they keep saying Jace is Vraska says to Jace multiple times, "You're the second strongest mind mage I ever met. You're the second strongest mind mage I ever met."
Yeah, after Bolus.
Exactly. She doesn't tell him it's Bolus. She thinks that he's never met Bolus. That's why he's called the Lord Nicholas.
Yeah.
Right. So like, I don't think it was easy for him to lose his memories, but Bolus is just
no, but it's so easy for him to just get them back. He hits his head and they're all back.
Well, we don't know. Technically, we don't know if it's all back. Like we know, they're rushing into him. They seem to be coming back. But we don't know exactly what's going on. But I do think it's gonna cause a battle in his head between past Jace and future Jace. And I'm very curious to see what happens. Like Vraska's worried that he will hate her, not like her anymore. And
sure.
But that's everything he's fought for. That's everything he's talked about in the story about, like, hey, exactly, like past doesn't matter.
Yes.
We shape ourselves. And Vraska's worried that his past will make him go back to who he was. So this is going to be huge. It's going to be key to showing us how the past works. And it's probably going to solidify the past doesn't matter. You can shape your future.
Okay, here's the biggest reason I don't like it. And it actually doesn't have a ton to do with the story itself.
Uh-huh.
Jace is the poster child for this game. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, I mean, he's the character that is promoted the most for this game. I think a lot of people were turning on Jace as a character from overuse, from being pretty uninteresting, being very generic. This story did a lot to undo that because you saw him as a person, not as like a caricature of a blue wizard, which is essentially what he was. Yeah. However, because of that, it would take them so long story-wise to get back to the point where he would be someone that's a powerful character and important to the story as far as everything he's capable of doing and having all of these cool powers, because right now you're learning about him as a human being, as a person. And this feels like a shortcut for them to be like, oh, he's still that same guy that's a really good guy, but now he can do all this other stuff because he's going to remember that he can do all this mind mage crap, all the stuff that he can do. But he's still cool. Remember that you liked him. Don't forget that you liked him through this story, but now we're just going to give him all the powers that he had and everything he's capable of remembering and doing, but he's still going to be this really cool guy.
Well, on the contrary, too, like I hate. It bugs me too in some stories, some shows, even where the good guy becomes so strong, and the only way they can do to like nerf it is to make him forget his powers, lose his power somehow.
Yes,
and I don't necessarily like that either. Like I don't like I'd rather just have the powers. Like I'm fine with him getting back his powers. I'm fine with learning about who he was without starting from scratch. Like we get to learn who Jace was when he wasn't, influenced by countless others and whatever else he's done and the Gatewatch and et cetera, et cetera. And we learned that he's actually a kind, very smart, very emotional, very caring, and even a person that's willing to put others in front of him and take risks.
Which is the complete opposite of what he had been previously.
Right. So maybe he thought maybe he thought he lost that part. Like maybe he was this person and like life just rocked him back and forth and showed him that life stopped being so nice, stopped being so emotional, stopped being so naive, and like shook him up. But now he realized that, hey, I haven't lost this. And now maybe a mixture of both. I don't know. I think it's good. I think it's nice to see that.
I think that the narrative team was like, we have this really great story. It's going to be a redemption story for Jace. It's going to be more playing on his human elements than his magical elements. And then as they started to tell the story, like someone up above from Wizards is like, no, Jace needs to be this powerful wizard. You need to make that happen. He's important to our marketing. He needs to be this powerful wizard. He can't be this broken, half-beaten man that's still figuring out how to put his pants on.
I don't think that's the case. I don't know.
I I do. And you know what? I was really looking forward to Jace meeting Liliana for the first time. And now I won't get that.
Oh, I was too.
Yeah, now, you won't get that now.
I was curious to see how the triangle would work. It's still, it's still going to happen. Like
it's not that specifically.
Yeah, of course, but there's still going to be like a battle for Jace between Liliana and Vraska. And I think honestly, I don't say I think. I hope Vraska wins out because Vraska seems way more genuine and like loving and not closed off and not shady like Liliana is. Like Liliana is very.
Liliana is just the black version of Jace, the old Jace.
Well, let's not get into that. Regardless, I hope Vraska. Hope he picks Vraska over Liliana.
I don't think Liliana's gonna care.
Sorry, Liliana.
I don't think she'll care.
That's not true.
She'll care.
She acts tough.
She'll care, but she won't. She's not gonna. It's not gonna. She's gonna be fine, I think. Especially with what I think is gonna happen with Liliana, which we can get into later, because that's not necessarily part of this story.
We'll see. Yeah, Liliana has one more demon to defeat too. So.
Oh yeah,
and then he's on Dominaria.
We all know where it is. We know where we're going, and we know who's going to be there.
Dominaria. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be one big
CF
comeback. CF.
Yeah.
What's CF?
I can't say it on the show, but I'm sure you can figure it out.
Okay. Nope.
Okay, I'll tell you afterwards. All right.
That's fine.
Okay. Anything else, Ollie? This is probably going to be the last time we're going to talk about the specific stories for Ixalan. I'm sure we'll touch on it before they start back up in about 2 months. But maybe in the meantime, we can touch on some other Magic story that we like.
Yeah, maybe some Dominaria stories, but I think that's it. I think that's it.
Okay, awesome. All right, guys, we're going to hop out for a second, and we will be right back to wrap up. Okay, Ali. Before we get to our normal wrap up, what do you got going on this coming week?
I got to just decide if I want to go to regionals, which is in Raleigh for the modern regionals.
Okay.
Or I stay home and go to a PPTQ Saturday, which is standard, or stay home and play some Hex standard on Saturday.
Okay.
Either way, I'll be home.
3 good options. So no far travels.
No what?
No far traveling.
No festival this weekend.
Okay, that's nice. Good. That's good. Yeah.
Nice break.
Definitely nice.
What about you?
I'm just gonna stay home this weekend and kind of relax. I'm gonna be traveling for the next few weeks. The next weekend I'm gonna be going to GP Atlanta. So if any of you want to come and chat with me about Thinktwice or Commander Versus or get me to sign something, I'm more than happy to do that at GP Atlanta. And then the week after that, you and I are going to be teaming up with Stephen Mann and playing a little team...
Baltimore.
Yes, team event in Baltimore, Maryland. So we're very excited about that.
Or S-Man, as people call him.
S-Man? Sman?
S-Man? Sman?
Sman? I won't call him that. I'll probably just call him Stephen Mann, first name, last name.
I think it's just Steve, man.
Well, I'll call him Steve Mann if he wants.
Just call him Mr. Man.
I'm not going to call him Mr. Man.
All right, call him Dr. Man.
Is he a doctor?
He might have his doctorate.
I'm not calling him that.
His doctorate in BS.
Well, then of course I'm not going to call him that. That doesn't even make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Anyway. So we have a few announcements. Obviously, last week we had to take a brief hiatus. The week before that, Ollie had to skip out for a week. He was unable to make it, and we had to have a fill-in. But in the meantime, we've had some time to talk with myself, Ollie, our director, John Choi, and we're going to be slowly changing some stuff around the format of the show. And I kind of just want to go over that with everybody. one thing that we have talked about is our Patreon page. And of course, you can find us on patreon.com/thinktwicemtg. But one of our reward tiers for our $5 tier is allowing the Disciple of Bolus tier, which is our $5 tier, to let you guys vote on topics and subjects that we're going to be talking about on the show. And we're actually going to be starting doing that very soon. So if you're not supporting at that tier, if you want to influence the show, that is definitely where you want to go to do so. We're also going to, or I'm going to be doing a voting for a commander deck list every week through our $5 Patreon tier as well. I'm going to be putting up a little poll for the $5 Patreons, and if you guys want to vote, at the end of the week, for the next week, I will post a deck list for a brand new deck list for that commander, as I would make it if I were making it for myself. We're also going to be getting back to talking about pop culture. I know a lot of you guys have mentioned that to us, like, you enjoyed when we talked about Game of Thrones and movies before that. So when we get back to pop culture, which is going to be starting next week, we're actually going to give you guys a heads up anytime we have a spoiler alert. So we'll give you a week ahead of time. So if you want to watch whatever we're going to be talking about, that'll give you a week to do it. So speaking of which, next week we're going to be talking about the second season of Stranger Things on Netflix. So you have a week from now. It's been out for a week, and we'll usually try to keep it around. The discussion is going to be about 2 weeks after it comes out. But next week, we're going to be talking about the season 2 of Stranger Things. So if you want to be able to listen to that full episode, that is something to be able to dive into. You got a week to do it, and then you can join with the discussion for us. As we said earlier in the show, our question of the week: is it a good or a bad thing that Jace's memories are coming back? Question of the week is going to be something that we're going to do every week. But for this week, we want your answers to that question. You should let us know at ThinkTwiceMTG on Twitter. You can follow us at that channel too. And also, let us know who you agree with. Do you agree with Ali, or do you agree with me? Is it a good or a bad thing that Jace's memories are coming back? Ali says, yes, it's good. I say, no, it's bad. Ollie's wrong.
But Justin, you're always wrong.
Well, we'll see. We'll put up.
I'm right.
I think we'll put up a poll. The Think Twice Twitter will put up a poll, and we'll let people vote on it.
All right.
And then we'll keep having the tally marks.
All right.
And then whoever gets to, if someone ever has 10 more tallies than the other person,
they say I told you so.
They get something. We'll figure it out. I'll pick out what I want once I get 6 or 7 above. Does that sound fair?
Sounds fair to me.
Great. So just to recap everything, Patreon voting for new episodes, new topics for new episodes, Commander deck list voting, pop culture heads up, and our question of the week every week. We're still going to be making more changes to the podcast as we go, so we would love to hear feedback from you guys if you want to do that. Speaking of feedback, Ollie, where can people give you feedback or find you on the interwebs?
You can find me articles every Friday on gatheringmagic.com, or you can follow me on twitter.com/Ali Aintrazi or twitch.com/Ali Aintrazi. Haven't streamed yet, but you may want to follow.
Okay.
And what about you, Justin? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, twitter.com/jparnell1 or jparnell1 at jparnell1 on Twitter. And of course, you can watch me every Wednesday on the Commander Versus series. I'm the host of that on StarCityGames.com and YouTube. We're in the middle of Season 9. This has been probably the best received season that we've ever done, which is great. We've been having a lot of fun. We just recently had, as we're recording this, this past week, the video for our Halloween special aired, and I will just say it is something else. So if you have not watched it, it is definitely something else. It is on track to become our most popular video of all time, which is shocking to me, but that's the world that we live in. You're all a bunch of monsters. And I'm not saying that because it's Halloween. You're literally monsters. Anyway, if you want to find the show, you can find us on SoundCloud. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on YouTube. We would love for you to subscribe to any of those channels if you can. If you're able to leave comments, let us know what you think of the show, especially on iTunes. Give us a nice review. We'd love to see more 5-star reviews come on our iTunes. That would help us out a ton. And sharing our episodes on any of those channels, SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube as well. And of course, as we said, you can follow the show at ThinkTwiceMTG on Twitter. And if you'd like to email us, you can do so, thinktwicemtg@gmail.com. And of course, please, if you can, if you're not able to support us on Patreon, like we said, patreon.com, thinktwicemtg, please just share the show if you can. We're really trying to get ourselves out there more, because this is one of the things that I don't want to say we're struggling with, but any new podcast, it's difficult to get listeners. And the more listeners we have, the more support we're able to have, the more cool things we're able to do. We have a lot of good plans in the future, and we'd love to be able to get to those. However, if you can support us with your dollars, we would appreciate that too. Feel free to chuck in $1 or $5 or however much, whatever you got. Anything that we're able to get is fantastic, and we appreciate it so much. We're going to try to come up with more reward tiers and make sure that everyone is able to support in a way that they feel comfortable and they are rewarded appropriately from it. So we also want to give a special thanks to our director and producer, John Choi, and of course our graphic designer, Amber West, and of course my beautiful, lovely co-host, Ali Aintrazi.
Thank you, Justin. I am beautiful, and you are old. All right, guys, thank you for listening.
Nice at all. You're right around the corner, buddy. You're right around the corner. You just love this time when I'm the year on my age is 1 year older than yours.
Yeah, you're much older than me. You're a dinosaur.
That's true.
Soon we're gonna grind you up, put you in some funnel cake mix.
That's double star.
Yeah, dude, dinosaur.
But you know what? I'll be back in Rivals of Ixalan.
All right.
Well,
that's it for me.
Before Ollie dies, we'll probably head out now.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. I love you.
Love you too, man.
All right. We love you guys too. We'll see you next week.